That's Delightful,
a member of the Pod Bros Network.
Welcome to That's Delightful. Online at facebook.com/That's Delightful. Now time for That's Delightful.
Is there a decaf one of those?
Yeah.
Yes, it's on the desk. Where
You didn't think to bring it to me? As I'm doing like everything? I'll go get that too. You're good. Sit there.
Your fucking life insurance policy is good now, just so you know.
Hey, guess what? So is yours. And
Oh, man.
Survivor's benefits. You're worth more, girl.
That's actually true. I am worth more now.
Yeah.
It
So
used to be that he was worth more because he had life insurance. I didn't.
That's Delightful. Patreon.com/That's Delightful. Facebook.com/That's Delightful. On Twitter @DelightfulCast. We have our Trump Roundup coming up here in just a few minutes. We also have to very quickly, and we'll do it after this next segment here that I know you guys want to talk about. And then after that, we have to give a nod to the Accidental Wrestling Fan and the Worst Millennials, both podcasts on the Pod Bros Network. We'll talk about that here in just a moment.
I thought there was an actual accidental wrestling fan for a second. I was like, what?
Well, we're going to have them on the show at some
I'm
point.
pretty close to being an accidental wrestling fan.
We're going to have them on the show at some point to talk about that because I kind of figured that about you. And I didn't even know that you watch wrestling.
Yeah.
I just had a feeling you're the kind of guy that sort of watched in passing and knows enough to have a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
But not enough
I think
to like...
he's that guy about everything.
Well, many things, but wrestling I have a very soft spot for.
And then also the Worst Millennials threw us a shout out, so I want to talk about them in a little bit too.
Yeah.
But let's unpack this. Sister or sibling day, is that what we're talking about here? Go ahead.
Yes.
All right, let's
Well,
talk about
we've had a sibling on. Shauna was sort of all
She
over.
was on the fringe.
Shauna was terrible on this show.
So
Don't- you're
I
gonna
wanna
hurt her
just make a
feelings.
quick
She's never
pitch.
gonna come back.
We've done 2 Drunk Kelly episodes, both of which I had a great time, both making and listening to.
You understand that Michelle and I don't get drunk, so we can't do drunk episodes.
Yeah, but you guys have a good time poking me with a stick when I get drunk. So we did.
You
first
poke
episode was
everyone with the stick. You're like more.
when I get drinky.
Yes.
When we do drunk
drinky-
episodes, who
fun and
becomes more
happy.
agitated out of the three of us?
Not you do.
You.
You get
Right.
Actually.
Tell us about how we poke you with the stick.
You guys goad me on. You're like, hey, when's the last time you had a drink?
Oh no.
I know this because
Well,
I
that's
listened
because
to
it's
them
the
again.
purpose of the whole
I know
thing.
I know you're
So-
poking me onward.
So, which one goad you? Because we are not one person.
Oh yes, tell us who
Yes,
the
you do.
goaters are.
Yes,
Who's
you
the
do.
goaters?
You're the goaters.
You're the goader.
I'm the goatee.
He goads you. I just sit
He
there.
does because he knows what makes for a good podcast, and he knows when to back off when I've had too much. So bottom line,
So when I took myself out of it, it turned into a compliment. Oh, wow.
I listened to our least listened to episode because we charged for it. Our Notebook Magic Mike Drunk Kelly episode.
Yes.
It was awesome. And Shauna was on it. So we had one sibling episode that nobody's heard, but Shauna was a delight.
Okay, listen.
Shauna is very
Not to edit.
She is.
Listen. Here's how I'll give my blessing for something like this again. Is
Can
if
we invite your sister?
yeah, she wouldn't do it, but we can invite her.
Well, I'll ask her on Facebook.
Ask her on Facebook.
We'll just call her on the phone while we're recording, and she can just not know until it's too late.
She deleted me on Facebook.
I will give my blessing for an episode like this. You're going to irritate the hell out of me all night if you don't say things on the microphone.
I'm so sorry.
You know what? The sibling pass that you had 10 minutes ago.
I know, it's really
is
bad.
reaching the end of its punch card use.
Okay.
I'm kidding. Like,
I don't think
kind
you
of.
are, but it's
so.
She can take it.
I know that based
card,
on
she'll
all of
take
our
your microphone.
history.
She'll edit this episode.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Welcome to That's Delightful
Shut
with
the
Kelly,
fuck up.
Michelle,
Don't
and
ruin
Maddie.
We'll call it MK.
That's what I was gonna say.
Were you gonna say that too?
Yes.
Oh, I
Yes.
love you.
I love you.
So I will give my blessing for another episode like that, and Shauna can be a part of it if we get lapel microphones.
Yes.
Lapel microphones are the
Is
only
that
way
why we haven't
do
done
it.
another Drunk Kelly episode? Is
But
'cause
no. We haven't done another Drunk Kelly episode because
We haven't done it.
We just haven't done it.
Because we went to Disneyland, and
We
then we
need
went to
to.
Disneyland
Yeah.
again.
And you have to
and then
find
we
the
had to go
right
back
movie.
to Disneyland. And guess who didn't go with us the last time?
Yeah, Kelly had shit to do. He was sad.
Kelly had shit to do.
He spent the
That's
whole
why.
weekend. It
Story
got
of my life.
complicated.
I had
Kelly
no
was sad.
expectations going in that you were going to come because I knew that you
I
had.
had told you guys that there was
Yeah,
stuff.
you
I know.
had stuff
Also,
going on.
it was my son's birthday.
Right.
I don't trip on shit like that. I was just giving you a hard time.
I wasn't giving you a hard time because I understood, friend.
Thank you.
So
I don't think there's any excuse
I'll-
to miss
don't-
Disneyland. So
I was going to say, don't get me wrong. He asked about 5 times. Do you think Kelly's really going to come? Do you think he's going to make it?
I
Do you think
really-
Kelly's going to come?
I intended until till Sunday morning. I still intended to hop in the car and come down.
She's misrepresenting that. What I asked was when she would come home from work, I would say, "Hey, did Kelly say anything about this weekend? Did he happen to say if he knew if his
anxiety.
kids were going to be doing the sleepover this weekend or next weekend?" I wasn't like, "What do you say now? What do you say now?" We're on a fucking group thread together. There's
true.
Like I would have known.
Hey guys, my sister Maddie's on the show today.
Hi, guys.
Maddie.
Long-time listener, first-time guest.
Aw, I love that.
Maddie has listened to every episode from the very beginning. That's probably not entirely true.
No, it's true.
Calling
well,
from-
okay, except for the one I have to pay for.
Coming in from west of the Rockies.
It was so good though.
I'm hoping that being a guest on the show gets me like exclusive rights to just listen.
That's
to it
actually a
for
really
free.
good idea.
Yeah.
It's not going to, but that's a really good idea.
Man.
He didn't watch your dollar.
We'll transcribe it for you.
Hey, you know that there's a Jew on the podcast, right?
I do know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stop being anti-Semitic.
That was not anti-Semitic.
I don't know if you can be anti-Semitic if you're adopted into the House of Israel.
Yes, if you're white, who became Jew, you can be anti-Semitic.
When I was going through my conversion, when I was talking to the rabbi one time, we'd meet like once a month, and he was saying, it's funny that there's this stereotype that Jews are tight with their money. He said, we can't help it if we're above average intelligence and good with our money. That doesn't make us tight with our money. We're just good with our money. I said, all right, maybe I'll get there someday. But right now, I'm terrible with my money. All right, so before we get this started, we have to throw out a shout out to the Worst Millennials, who gave us a shout out on their podcast that you can find it at podbros.com, the Worst Millennials. We got to have them on the show sometime because they're like us, kind of minus the politics, but they spun off of.
Funny and delightful and charming.
They are pretty funny. They spun off of a topic we talked about a few weeks ago, the condom sniffing challenge, and how we kind of debunked that. We did some research on it, and it turns out that is not really a fad going around. That's something that was started like 5 years ago. And they took that and they kind of ran with it, and fads that aren't really fads, or fads that kind of get blown out of proportion. And they referenced one of my favorite movies, Reefer Madness, from back in the day.
I love Reefer Madness.
I've never seen it.
You've
No,
never
you
seen.
have
Oh
to.
my goodness!
It's
I
hilarious.
want to be far away from the mic because that may be controversial now that I said that.
Well, Reefer Madness was made in the 30s. Was
Oh.
it the 30s or
Yeah.
the 50s?
Wow.
I think it was the 50s.
Yeah, it was the
50s,
50s.
okay.
It was a public service.
It was
Basically.
initially made for schools to show the dangers of smoking the marijuana, which was spelt very, very weird. Before the movie starts, there's this scrolling message that says, "We're out to stop public enemy number one, marijuana." And then they show
Wow.
the whole movie afterwards about how marijuana destroys this young man's life.
Yes, and then there's a scene where somebody's playing a piano and the woman is like,
May, faster
Cackling,
May,
yeah.
faster May.
These are
and then
gifts
she like
from it.
jumps out the
my
window.
gosh.
It was weird.
My favorite is when he comes home and he's like super exasperated. He's like, "May, get me some more reefer."
This is them maniacally dancing
And she
on the reefer.
On the reefer.
She opens up like a cigar box and it's loaded to the gill with joints. And my buddies and I, when we first watched that when I was 20, we were like, holy shit, that's a stoner's dream. But in Reefer Madness, that's the gateway to death.
Yes. And the car's going like 55. And
Oh my gosh.
The car, almost 55. It gets up to 45. It's like, slow down, Tommy. You're going to kill somebody.
because everybody who smokes weed does everything faster.
To the movie's credit, Tommy did end up killing somebody at the fast speed of 35 miles per hour. Tommy, I think you hit him back there. I think you need to stop. No, we'll keep going now.
I think there's almost like irony in that they were trying to show that Tommy was reckless and impulsive in his driving. But I mean, really, when somebody's stoned, it is kind of like 35 feels like you're going 900.
Slow down in your jalopy. It belongs to my friend Chet.
I don't drive.
Oh, man. So anyway, a big shout out to the Worst Millennials, and thank you so much for the shout out. Also, we have to throw a shout out, or at least a tip of the hat and an acknowledgement to the Accidental Wrestling Fan, which is a podcast on the Pod Bros Network. Again, podbros.com. We had mentioned last week that Freddie Prinze Jr. was now doing ringside announcing for WWE.
Right.
I mentioned that.
Did we mention that?
I led the charge on
do
that
remember
one.
People
hearing
who did
that.
not age well.
I wonder if I was reading.
You were, actually.
Yeah. You didn't
We
perk
talked
up.
about Matthew Lillard.
That's when she perked up, was you didn't say it about him.
Yeah. And then we brought up his good pal, Freddie Prinze Jr.
So I led the charge,
I don't listen to you.
and I said that Freddie Prinze Jr. was doing ringside announcing for the WWE, and the Accidental Wrestling Fan hit us up over Twitter to correct us and let us know that Freddie Prinze Jr. actually wrote for the WWE for 2 years. Didn't really do any ringside announcing, but they loved the fact that we kind of paralleled him and Joe Rogan at the same time. And they said they think it'd be awesome if Freddie Prinze Jr. had a podcast to pimp his kettlebells and nutrition bars too, like Joe Rogan does.
Who's Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan was on News
talked
Radio.
about him last week.
Yeah.
Did I ask the
on
same
Fear
question?
Factor.
Michelle.
Man. Fear Factor Man Show, News Radio.
No,
Yeah,
when you
we
guys
talked.
start talking.
You said words about this.
Did I?
Yes. You had thoughts about it. You just like pure impulse and reaction time.
Leave my dementia alone.
Good hell.
Before we get too far away from Freddie Prinze Jr., I have to disagree that he didn't age well, because I think he did. I think he's a very handsome guy.
Well, she's not allowed back on
Where's his
anymore.
hairline at these days? Is it not that that's a bad thing?
Maybe it's because he's married to, what's her
Sarah
name?
Michelle
Sarah
Gellar?
Michelle.
Buffy.
Yeah, makes him more handsome. She's great.
I don't think he's bad.
SMG aged well too.
Yeah.
She's
She
She
has
did.
aged quite well.
I think she looks like a mouse.
squeak.
That works for some people? I don't know.
She saved the world a lot. So.
Christy Swanson is the one and only
Oh
Buffy.
my goodness! What?
Yes.
Don't you
that
dare
was-
take anything away from Christy Swanson.
Christy Swanson's awesome. She was the original Buffy. She's not the
He's
definitive
sick.
Buffy.
My
She
best
is
friend's
the
girlfriend's
definitive
boyfriend's
Buffy.
friend told this guy who's dating this girl that knew Ferris said he passed out at 31 Flavors last night. I guess it's pretty serious.
Thank you, Simone.
What am I missing?
Ferris Bueller's Day
Christy
Off.
Swanson's two claims to fame are Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, and a scene in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
No, she was in Big Daddy too.
Who was
She was the girl that worked at Hooters in the end.
That's right.
That was
She-
Adam Adam
The
Sandler's
girlfriend?
girlfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's the one that left for the
Alright.
guy with the old balls, Colonel Sanders.
He had a 5-year plan.
What is it? Don't die?
She's been in other stuff too. She was in.
She does a lot of Lifetime movie network
She
stuff
was
now.
in a movie called, what was it, Chase? Or something like that with
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen.
Yep.
Ooh, Flowers in the Attic. Oh, she was in Dude, Where's My Car? Thank you very much.
Yes,
right.
Christy Swanson is the original Buffy the
Right.
Vampire
The
Slayer.
original, but not the definitive.
No, she's the definitive too.
You can't
It was
say
a great.
that.
I absolutely can.
I feel the same way about George Reeves and Superman and Henry Cavill and the Man of Steel. In that
Christopher
George Reeves, there's two
Sorry.
Reeves that
No,
play
no,
Superman.
there is
Just
no.
showing-
She was in
Sorry.
Eight Heads in a Duffel Bag.
That's right, she was.
Joe Pesci. 1997.
George Reeves was
See?
Superman in the
Your
50s.
sister
Christopher
can take
Reeves
your
was
spot.
Superman
The
in the
Phantom?
70s and the 80s.
With Billy Zane.
She's serious about
Remember
that.
before superhero movies were cool?
You
and
can't
Billy,
even hear me right
Billy
now,
Zane,
no.
yeah, I've tuned you out like you tuned us out all last week apparently. Higher Learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was in Higher Learning. I forgot. She was the girl that got
Hot
raped.
Shots. Oh my goodness.
Part 1 or part 2?
Part
one.
one. She was Kowalski. She was in Mannequin, Knots Landing,
I think she was Mannequin 2.
Not Quite Human.
This is a podcast now.
She was in
He's
Not
talking about
Quite
Christy
Human.
Swanson.
This is why I tune you out. There's
Growing
absolute-
Pains.
Now he's just being difficult.
Facebook.com/That's Delightful.
Cagney and Lacey. All right, I'm done.
At DelightfulCast on Twitter. Patreon.com/That's Delightful. We haven't lost you yet.
I
Anyway,
hate all y'all.
Accidental Wrestling fan, thank you for correcting us. We really appreciate it.
He is so good at bringing it back around like that. I would have forgotten where the heck we
No,
started.
he's really good at all of it.
Thank you.
It's,
So
it's the
awesome.
most niceness he's going to get from me now.
Unless he starts being nice.
He is the catalyst for our unique alchemy as a trio.
Yes,
you,
we all know
guys.
that you love him.
I do love him.
Nobody questions that.
So Trump made a call to Fox and Friends with just a treasure trove of stuff.
He had a lot on his mind this morning.
He had a lot on his mind when he called Fox and Friends. So where do we start? Do we start with his admission about Cohen? Do we start with the fact that he got Melania like nothing for her birthday?
Hey, he got her a very nice car.
Very nice car.
And
And some very nice flowers.
Very nice flowers.
Did he pick them out is the question.
He doesn't have time to run around and get presents,
He's-
okay?
He's too busy presidenting.
And calling Fox and Friends and tweeting. You know, you can actually, in the time that it takes to fire off a tweet, you can order something on Amazon.
I know.
Yeah, there's like one-click buy option now.
Oh, yeah, I know. He hates Jeff Bezos. Never
and
mind.
they have a. Oh yeah.
What about the Wish app?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
got a
Wayfair.
a 14-piece makeup set for $2.
Because we looked up sex toys on Wish one time, I keep getting sex toys popping up in my Wish app, and there was a speculum on there.
Didn't look at.
Oh yeah.
He could get her that.
You guys, I just saw on my Facebook that
Why
they've
did I have a
released
speculum?
a whole set of Avengers-themed dildos.
On Wish?
I'm inches from my sister's face as I'm saying this, and it's
So I either
weirding me
want-
out, but
I either
Did you want a
Thor
speculum?
or Captain America.
Oh, I thought you wanted the speculum.
Nah.
They sell there's a whole
Thor.
porn culture that uses a speculum.
Right? What? Describe it to me. What is it that you do?
I just feel this is the point where I should say that there's a higher percentage chance that my mom will listen to this episode since there are 2 Abbotts on here.
So this will be something we talk about at another time.
hi, Mom.
Okay, describe gaping to me later.
Okay.
Oh, it's just what the hell?
Hey, have you ever gone grocery shopping?
Yes.
Okay, you know when you're trying to get that little plastic bag to put produce in it, and you have to fight to get the plastic bag
No,
open?
I know what an actual gape is.
So that's all that is they just make the little plastic bag into a much larger plastic bag
But to
opening.
put what in it? A cucumber?
Milk, a cucumber, stuff.
Okay, because
There was one where they put cereal and milk in there.
I mean, just
So
understanding.
I think we should end it there.
I am so lost.
Donald Trump did not
Kelly
get
is
Melania
so
that.
uncomfortable that I'm here.
No, I'm good. Hey, gaping, am I right? You love it. I love it.
Do you
Hashtag
think?
speculum.
Do you think Melania and Donald have conversations with each other where they say like, "Hey, for birthday, seriously, this year, nothing," and they just take it literally?
I do. What's the point? I
Because
mean,
Michelle and I do that.
yeah, no.
And
I
we
would
mean it.
rather, I would rather have like the comedy Clusterfest that we're going to. It was like, no, let's just do this, and that's
Keep
it.
rubbing Clusterfest.
I will.
Sounds awesome.
It's
I
gonna
wanna
be
go.
awesome. Trevor Noah, Jon Stewart.
You mentioned Trevor Noah before you mentioned Jon Stewart.
No, I was just.
Tiffany Haddish.
Sorry. Hey.
She's growing
love
on
her.
me.
I'm just busting you
She's
balls.
growing on me.
I love her.
I'll let you know which one goes up first when we're there. No, Michelle and I have that agreement though. When we literally say no gifts, and for the first 3 or 4 years, I always thought
freaked out.
I was being kind of baited to see what I would do. But it's legit. When we say no gifts, we mean no gifts, and
That
no
is
gifts
so
are purchased.
nice.
Do you really think that
Yeah,
Donald
no.
Trump is the kind of guy who doesn't want a big deal made about him on his birthday?
I think he wants a big deal made about him on his birthday, but I don't necessarily think that, like, what do you buy him?
I think he takes more joy in his birthday if people say nice things about him on Fox and Friends than if Melania gets him a watch.
So,
I don't
Kelly
think
and
he
I-
cares about getting the watch. I think he would care more if he didn't get anything.
Kelly and
It's
I
about
were
getting
talking about like how he likes to come in and sit at a table and have everybody around the table say something good about him. I told Kelly that
What?
you should.
Oh, Donald Trump.
yes.
Fuck.
Oh God! All right, let's start.
That was
Kelly, I
dinner
enjoy
every
your
night
laugh.
growing up.
I think your laugh fills up a room. Go ahead and go, Maddie. Well said, Michelle.
I love your facial hair.
Yay! I'm glad we did this.
It's so hard to pick just one. I've known
No,
Kelly for a
I get
long
you.
time.
I get you.
Almost since birth, maybe.
I know, like my whole life.
So for those who don't know my sister Maddie, she is the youngest of the 7 Abbott siblings. So we are like
Yeah.
weird sibling bookends.
So how old does that make you?
25 almost
25 almost. Okay.
in July.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. All right.
I was already going into high school when she was born, so we didn't know each other super well till later in adulthood.
Yeah.
Really. We all ended up living in Utah. We ended up being best pals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kelly actually was the one that introduced me to my husband. So
Okay.
I owe a lot to him. So to repay the favor,
Matchmaker, matchmaker, make
Exotic,
her a
makes me
match.
feel cool about
yeah,
myself.
I invite myself on the podcast. So
But yeah, Donald Trump does love having
yeah.
people talk nice things about him. We're squirreling extra hard today.
I'm
Double the
really
Abbott,
sorry.
double the squirreling.
Yeah.
No, this is good.
But it's super hot in here too, so I think that's like
Yeah.
I can't.
I think it was all the
Sorry.
Kelly compliments.
Ian's gonna
It's
kill
making
us
all
all.
of our-
It's
Okay.
just because I'm here.
So, agreed.
Gaping and Donald Trump.
Both bad.
Both are not my thing.
Hey, so Donald Trump on Fox and Friends also admitted for the first time publicly that Michael Cohen did represent him in that crazy Stormy Daniels case.
He did, yeah.
So that That means he's acknowledging that $130,000 was used to pay Stormy off. This opens up because Stormy's attorney was on Morning Joe right after this saying this is a treasure trove of stuff for us now.
Yeah.
What does this do for Stormy Daniels and her legal team?
Well, anytime that Donald Trump opens his mouth, he undermines cases that his attorneys might try to make for him. I mean, there's a reason that attorneys tell their clients don't say words when there is a case pending, because anything you say can only make it more difficult to defend you because it gives more ammunition, more things for them to sort through. Donald Trump is the king of undermining his own defense.
And he doesn't care. I mean,
Yeah, he's like, that's what I pay you to
he
figure
feels
out.
that he's above the law. So Michael Cohen right now is sitting not so pretty. And I wonder how many lawyers are going to step away from him right now because it's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
From Cohen or Trump?
Trump.
Okay.
It's horrible. And it was so funny that it was Fox and Friends because they were trying to lay him some softballs right over the middle of the plate. Like asking about your wife's birthday should be a slam dunk. Well, I'm mixing my sports metaphors there. Right across the middle of the plate, he slam dunks it.
Touchdown!
That should have been a gimme, and he couldn't even handle that. He's like, I better not talk about that. That's the one thing he showed some discretion on and didn't want to discuss. But then he goes into it with his attorney, starts talking about, because the role of Michael Cohen in working with him has been a big question. Like, how much did the two of them communicate? Was Cohen giving money to people without consulting with Trump or not? And anything Trump says about that muddies up his defense. And so he made their job 1,000 times harder today. Same thing with his discussion of the Russia investigation. He started talking about Mueller. He started talking about the investigation, the Justice Department. And towards the very end, you could see like the audio of this interview was fun. The visual part was the most fun because watching the Fox and Friends hosts like giggle nervously and exchange nervous glances with each other.
What's he doing?
Like, what are we doing? They ended up cutting him off and saying, well, you seem really busy. We're just going to have to go to commercial here. Thanks for calling.
Rupert Murdoch called. He'd like us to stop talking to you now.
Zoinks! Scoob!
He had just started saying that he was going to take more control of the Justice Department. And they're like, okay, going to commercial.
Times car!
Game off.
So Michael Cohen is going to be invoking the fifth. What does this mean?
Hillary Clinton invoked the fifth too. It's not nearly as like scandalous as the left is trying to make it out to be. I mean,
Well,
how?
I mean, you have the right not to incriminate yourself, but if you invoke the fifth, the supposition is that not talking is less damning than saying the actual words, like answering honestly.
But see, that's the same kind of twisted crap that police tell you when you ask for an attorney and refuse to be questioned.
Hey, if you're just upfront with us right now, it's going to be easier on you.
Right.
But there's been a standard in public office, if you hold elected office, that it's not a law, but it has been the standard that you don't take the fifth. You are.
But
No,
Cohen
he's not
isn't
an elected official.
I know that, but Hillary was. I think it's bullshit that Hillary did it. Trump.
Well, I don't-
The big speculation is whether Trump would do it, and he probably will if he has to.
Right.
Hillary Clinton shouldn't have done it. She was in elected office.
Well, I wasn't arguing that. I'm just saying there's a hypocrisy behind people getting pissed that Cohen is invoking the fifth. It's not a
pissed.
stupid. Did I say you?
Yeah, everything you say is about me,
Did it-
obviously.
Well, I guess
Kelly and I.
my question is, if he's invoking the fifth, does that just mean like there's just no justice on the horizon? This doesn't go any further? Michael Cohen says he's not going to say anything, and so it just ends there and it's done?
He would be stupid to say something. He really would. I mean,
Yeah, what could he possibly say? Because Trump has argued all sides of the argument, so anything he says is just going to dig one of those holes deeper.
Right. He cannot say something now. I mean, he would be dumb.
So
but
he
no, it
pleads
doesn't
the
end
fifth
there.
because they have evidence, and that's what gets admitted. That's what gets used, and so they just do it without his testimony, with the hope that there's enough physical evidence that his testimony wasn't really needed anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they seized all of his files. They have supposedly hours and hours and hours of audio files that he's recorded.
Yeah, so essentially what he's saying is you have all of this stuff. I'm not going to connect the dots for you. Like, you're going to have to, I mean, if he were to take the fifth, or if he were to testify, he would have to explain all of this.
Okay.
So now they get to connect the dots themselves.
Any other takeaways from Trump's call?
He's crazy? Anybody
Yeah,
else?
he can't stop himself, and it's funny.
He really can't, can
So
he?
what kills me is like where I get like to the point that I want to cry. It's like, how do you not hear this and think he's mad as a hatter? And I used an expression from the 1850s. I'm pretty sure.
Mad as a hatter?
Yeah. It's when,
Say, Hannah, mad as a hatter.
He's fired everybody who kept him in check, and the speculation has been that he's going to be all over the map, and this is him being all over the map. Nobody's
saying that for
stopping
a
him.
year.
Yeah, but he's acting the way he did towards the beginning of his administration when nobody was keeping him in check. Before Kelly came in and was kind of keeping people from his office, I think he now is tweeting what he wants to tweet and calling into shows when he wants to talk. And he's going to end up really, one of these days he'll say like the magic bullet thing that will bring down his presidency.
I really wonder, like, how many attorneys are turning away right now from this, because if Michael Cohen is going down for him.
That was the headline. There was a story that came out about how Cohen really loves Trump, and how in the campaign before he was even elected, that when when Bannon started rising to prominence, Cohen sort of got pushed to the side, and he would send these sad tweets like, "I really miss you. I wish I could be there to help you."
No, he did not.
Yes, that was the message that he sent to him.
Aim
really
higher,
miss
Cohen. Aim higher, you know?
He's just not that into you, man.
Right? It's like the narcissist when he's not getting the love anymore. Now you know how all of Trump's wives feel.
All right, Facebook.com/That's Delightful. Bill Cosby making headlines because his first trial for sexual assault ended in a hung jury. And he went on trial again, and he was found guilty on all charges. He has a potential 10-year prison sentence looming ahead of him, on top of severe financial penalties, which I'm sure he's not worried about at all. This was all done on testimony from victims.
It happened really fast.
Oh.
I mean, we were walking around Costco today, and all of a sudden it flashes up on the screen, Bill Cosby convicted. I was like, what? Because it seems like it was just there was a whole trial before it. It was a mistrial, right?
Yeah.
And now it was like a slam dunk, open and shut kind of thing.
Like, this went really quick. Janice Dickinson came out and said that she made up some of her claims against him.
Yes, I know Janice Dickinson. She's fucking crazy.
Janice
She's the
Dickinson's
female
nuts.
Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah, she was on The Apprentice one season, right? And she was crazy.
I don't know.
She did
She's
This
on
Real
American
Life.
Idol. Or not American Idol.
America's Next Top Model.
But she was on a season of The Celebrity Apprentice, too. And
So-
it was crazy town.
She used to, like, that was her whole thing, is she had to talk about how she coined the term supermodel, and she never got credit for it.
Right.
Yeah, her whole claim to fame is I'm the first, quote, supermodel.
Yeah.
Not Christy Brinkley or
Naomi
Cindy
Campbell.
Crawford.
So
I
Bill
think Janice
Cosby,
Dickinson was actually before them.
She wasn't that super.
she wasn't Christy
Right.
Brinkley hot. Hey, so Bill Cosby's 80 years old. He just got convicted of these crimes. Does he go to prison at this age,
Yes.
or does he
I think
pay
he
a
will
hefty
to
fine?
make an example. Yeah, I think he will. But he'll go to solitary. I mean, he's going to go to protective custody. He's not going to hit the main line.
I mean, at his age, they put him in they have a geriatric wing where it's nothing but people his
I
age.
have a geriatric wing.
Because I can't imagine putting an 80-year-old amongst 30-year-old kids that are looking at life that just don't give a shit. How does that work?
That's what I said. He'll be in protective custody. They have like whole prisons or
I don't think
areas of
anybody's going to
prison.
fuck with Bill Cosby in prison.
They will, just to say that they did. I mean,
Does he die in prison? Does he make it to prison? He's 80 years old. He has
I'm
some
sure there
health
will
problems.
be appeals and things like that.
well, did you see that he had like one outburst that he was quiet the whole time, and then when they were asking for bail revocation,
Oh, I did see that.
They said, you know, he has, he's a flight risk. He has his own plane. He got up and he said, "I don't have my own plane, asshole."
I don't have my own plane with the pudding pops and the
Don't.
Jello cups.
Every time you do that, I feel like you're racist.
But that's his character.
That's
it's
a
not.
Cosby
It's a
voice.
Cosby
not a racist
voice.
Everybody has a Cosby impersonation.
Flippity floppity with the jacket and the sweater and the
Well, if
pudding
two
pop.
white men here say that it's not racism, then it sure as shit is not.
I failed to.
We're going to have to disagree on that. I think if you ask anybody, black, white, Mexican, whatever, I think they'll tell you that's a Bill Cosby character. That's not.
The only person that I would ask is another black person, and even then, that's a little weird. Be like, "Hey, you."
Go ask another black person. I challenge you because I don't think it's racist to do the Bill Cosby voice.
I'm not gonna randomly ask a black person.
This is a good topic for us to discuss because I think it's not that Bill Cosby can't be separated from race, but there are ways to talk about Bill Cosby that aren't necessarily racist. And Bill Cosby impersonations are as old as Bill Cosby himself.
Right.
His characters are timeless and priceless.
I don't know. It feels weird to me. It just makes me.
Fat Albert voice, you can do. He belongs to the ages.
I'm Fat Albert. I ain't gonna be quiet.
Okay, now we're getting close.
Yeah. Why is that the line?
I don't know what. That one just felt closer to the line.
Oh, it feels close to you.
That's Fat Albert.
Let
So
us know
then
what you
it's
think
racist.
on Facebook.com/that's
It's not racist.
delightful.
But it's not racist.
It's
but
sizist.
you felt.
Oh my gosh.
You somehow felt a reason. You felt that was towing the line too much, just like she felt that the puddin' pop was towing the line too
Okay,
much.
we've all
And I'm
decided that
curious-
you're racist.
and I'm curious
Now
to
that
know
we've
why.
all agreed.
No, I think there was an intonation that just felt more like stereotypically.
Is it because I said ain't?
No, that time I didn't feel it.
Oh.
That just sounded like like you were singing a little bit of what's his name, Louis Armstrong.
Okay, we're all racist. Never mind.
I'm gonna stay neutral on this one.
I don't
Maddie's
understand.
the non-racist one.
Because if we did Trump, it's huge, super huge. I do a terrible Trump. But if we did Trump, is it not racist because he's white and we're white and so we emulate his voice?
Oh no.
It's a power and privilege thing.
Yes, don't even go there.
I know. I'm genuinely asking.
Racism against white people is not a thing.
But with Bill Cosby and his characters, I see a character. I don't see a black thing. I see a character. I see a Fat Albert character. I see the Puddin' Pop spokesperson.
Right, but Bill Cosby was also
See a serial rapist?
a serial
Yes.
rapist.
I don't know how to impersonate that.
I'll show you later.
Someone's getting lucky tonight. I've been waiting.
Okay, that's what's so
Whatever it takes, I guess.
I've been waiting for my Me Too moment. This is it. This is where the tables turn.
Oh my God,
that
this
was,
is so wrong. I think we should scrap this whole
No,
podcast.
no.
I feel like this is my fault. Sorry.
Why did that feel sexy? It was not. Maybe it was. Whatever.
Wait, who made it sexy, her or me?
I think both of you. Now we're just witnesses.
All right.
Okay.
You can
But
check
I'm
out.
with you, Ian. It's not Bill Cosby is a.
He's an icon.
I don't know that there's another person that you could say exactly that about, but
He's an icon. Bill Cosby had one of the most prolific shows that portrayed a black family in a positive light. It wasn't, you had two educated parents.
A doctor and a lawyer, right?
Yeah, that's where it's like, I don't know. It just is. It
There
feels
are
weird
ways
to
you
me.
could talk about Cosby or impersonate Cosby that might be racist, but I don't think that doing Cosby voice is inherently racist.
Thank you.
Okay. If you guys say so, then it's true. Tell me again about sexism, too.
Well, you see,
Hey.
if a man tells a woman, I'll show you what a serial rapist is like later, that's sexism. If a woman says it to a man, it's
Funny.
funny.
Bitches be cray. Am I right? Women be shopping.
Okay.
Hey, we're covering the whole bingo card on That's Delightful tonight.
Who wants to say the next homophobic thing?
All right.
Maddie's been sitting quietly. I think it's only fair that it's her.
Maddie, how has this felt to you tonight?
I'm just so honored to be here and
Maddie,
be a part of it.
tell us more about your belief that conversion therapy is a good thing.
Oh, wow.
So no.
What were you talking about earlier? Gay is a choice? Is that what you said?
God. This is why people won't hang out with us.
And you just you could just choose to go right back?
This is what I get for not talking close enough to the microphone earlier.
Yeah.
Am I close enough now? Can you hear me now?
Can we change the subject?
We can. Let's talk
Maddie,
about
talk pretty now.
let's talk about the East Side rapist. Anyone?
Yeah.
Is it the East Side rapist or
The Golden State Killer.
Well, he had several names. He had
Yeah.
East Area rapist,
East.
Golden State Killer.
Is it East Bay area?
No, East Area, because he started in the East Area of Sacramento. I actually know a lot about this case. He started in the East Area of
I
Sacramento.
don't think you know anything about anything.
He
I'm kidding.
He broke into over 100 homes. He assaulted.
Why are you following serial rapists?
Because when I was 9 years old, this was a
Okay, tell me.
huge deal in Sacramento. This was what
This has been
everybody
going
talked
on for
about.
decades.
Families were
I
freaked
had no
the
fucking
fuck
clue
out.
who this was.
My family was freaked out. Families were freaked out. My mom was petrified because my dad traveled all the time. And this guy would come in with a flashlight, would blind the victims, rape the victims, sometimes kill the victims, make himself a sandwich and grab a beer, drink it, and then take off. And I'm not joking when I say that. So he terrorized basically from Citrus Heights all the way down to Modesto, and in a couple of instances down in Southern California. And for years, police were trying to track him down. So it turns out that I have a friend at work whose father was a police officer, and back in the late 70s, early 80s,
Ooh.
was actually on a task force to try and catch this gentleman. She said when he found out, like the whole family erupted in a celebration. And she said that when he was working on this case, they all said this has to be a cop. This has to be a cop. Some conspiracy theories out there, or some other theories rather, were that he was a construction worker because a lot of these happen near new developments. Some theories out there
Well, that's
were
just because they were empty.
And other theories out there were that he was a security guy who was infatuated with military or police, and that's why his tactics were kind of that way. But he approached people in a very tactical manner with his flashlight. He would blind them. When he was called out by the public for saying he only attacks women who are alone, he started attacking women who were married with their husbands in the home. He would tie them both up, and he would put plates on their backs.
Yeah, I heard
You heard about that, right? If the plates move, you're dead. One woman, he tied her 3-year-old son up and put him in another room while he did his thing. The guy was a fucking monster. And he reigned terror, basically, on Northern California for 10 years. And then for 15 years after, would still call his victims and breathe heavily into the phone. Or say stuff like, I'm going to come kill you. You're dead. I'm going to kill you. And DNA evidence has finally linked Joseph James D'Angelo Jr., a 72-year-old Sacramento man who was actually on the Auburn, California, my hometown.
I saw that.
Auburn, California's police force.
But he got fired.
Now, the twist in all of this, which I know Kelly is super pumped about because he's a huge Patton Oswalt fan.
Yeah, it's such a nice sort of ending, or a nice loose end tied up in this story. Patton's wife died suddenly and tragically a little more than 2 years ago. And she was working tirelessly on this book. I mean, she was passionate about cold cases and about serial killers, unresolved murder cases, and this was the case that she tracked most closely. And so a lot of the work she did, I mean, it's sad because the police typically won't credit freelance work and freelance journalists with directly helping them to solve a case, and they're not necessarily giving her the credit she's due. But it's hard to deny that she definitely shone a light on a lot of things that helped them in the right direction here.
There's a great podcast on the BBC called Someone Knows Something. And it is a gentleman who basically works cold cases, and he goes to the family of the people that have been killed, and he kind of reworks the cold case with them. And in season 4, so is it Mississippi Burning? Is that the movie?
Yes.
Okay, so in that one, it's they're working the murder of 2 African-American men, right?
Right.
So before those 2 men were found, in another part of the river, they found one other African-American that was killed that was not part of that other 2's group that was in the movie. So he was identified, but his murder was never actually solved. And so this guy that runs the podcast, Someone Knows Something, went down there and reworked the case with this guy's uncle, and they re-aggravated all of the wounds that had kind of healed in the community. They went to the people that were initially suspected but never actually arrested for, some of the people that were arrested but then let go because of lack of evidence, and they actually got a conviction out of this one. And the police officer there said, "Thanks for doing the work that we couldn't do. Like you did what we failed to do." And it was because of their efforts that somebody was arrested and is now in jail, was convicted a year ago to spend the rest of his life in jail, which I think is pretty awesome. And I think the Patton Oswalt's wife deserves a lot of credit here.
Yeah, Michelle McNamara did a lot of really great work. And this is sort of a trend that actually the podcast format has really sort of unlocked. I mean, the internet has led to a lot of connections being made by people that might not have made them before.
The
but
internet is good for something.
the shows like Serial was big for this. The first season of Serial was the kind of the show that made podcasting as a format really take off.
What was his name? Farad Naeem?
Adnan Syed was the name of the...
Take that out.
Leave it in. Adnan Syed was
Nanajad.
Hey, Ron.
Jack Wellen.
Have you guys listened to that first season of Serial? It's fascinating, and it has to do with a high school senior who was convicted of murdering his ex-girlfriend, and the case was anything but open and shut. There were all kinds of evidence that the police mishandled the case in Baltimore, which is famous for its police...
Mishandling
of cases. He was mistreated for his background. He was profiled. He was denied bail when he should have been given bail. And a lot of this was brought to light by that initial podcast and then several amateur podcasts that popped up that went out and cross-referenced some of the evidence that the police just wouldn't take the time to do. And really shined a light on the fact that police often get an idea in their head early on in a case and selectively pay attention to evidence to the exclusion of anything else. Maybe not even meaning to be following the wrong trail, but just unwilling to admit that they might have been wrong about something early on that could have pointed them in a different direction.
Is that called confirmation bias?
Hey, look at that.
It shows.
Ooh!
It sure is.
Ian Riley, LCSW Psi D. Motherfucker!
That's who you be.
Dr. Ian Riley. Hey, by the way, I have a humidor for cigars.
Do you?
And I have a nameplate on it that I had made at Things Remembered. And it says Dr. Ian Riley, 2008.
Nice.
Wow. That's misrepresenting yourself, and it's illegal.
Yeah, but when you get cigars, you know you're getting it from a doctor on a box. I think there's a lot of victims still alive in that area who I'm sure I don't know what it takes to get over a trauma like that. But I think at least they can breathe a sigh of relief tonight.
You get over it.
I don't think you can. Okay, so listen, not same.
Probably deal with it.
Not same. I understand, but I want to use a parallel from a personal experience. And again, I understand not same. There's a big difference between rape and having somebody take my car while I'm standing right there. But somebody taking my car when I was standing right in the garage and driving off with it, still to this day, 6 months later, I still open my garage door cautiously when I leave in the morning. I still, as I'm backing out, expect somebody to still be around the corner. It honestly kind of fucked me up. And I'm being very real with you when I say that.
For sure.
I still have kind of like moments of holy shit when I'm backing out of my garage and I'm waiting to see somebody run across the street at 5 o'clock in the morning before I go to work. I don't know who did it. If he got arrested, I think I would feel a little bit of vindication. I would imagine that these victims that are still alive, even though they're not going to get over it, probably feel a tremendous sense of relief that nobody can call them anymore and do what they've been doing over the phone. What's the psyche behind that?
It's on a vindication level. It feels
Well, in a
better,
very real
but
sense.
It's not gonna take the fear away.
Well, the trauma is trauma, and people will spend a long period of time, sometimes the rest of their lives, dealing with trauma or learning to live with the trauma that they've experienced. But it's no small thing if you've been worried that your phone might ring again years
Right.
after something happened, and knowing that that phone's not going to ring anymore, that person's now not able to hurt you. I would imagine that you...
And if your phone does ring, it's
not him.
It's a big deal. Well,
unless somebody copycats or they got the wrong guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think for a lot of people, that's what they might say, that's what keeps me from getting the closure I need, is knowing that he's still out there. And while that may not fix it all and make it all better, I would imagine it's gotta help.
So shifting gears to something a little more light, there's a book called The Amazing True Story of How Babies Are Made. It's by Fiona Katauskas. It is only available on shelves in Australia. It was found in the children's section, meaning a 6-year-old who can read could have got this book down while trying to buy a book or pick one out and thumb through this. This book is
I don't think they would find it as weird as we do.
It's a very graphically illustrated book on how babies are made. And we'll just go ahead and run it in the background here. And if you haven't seen this online yet, check out how they read this book.
All right, let's see how the Australians think babies get made. This should be good.
I want you to notice the green pubes on the woman.
Is that not normal? Mom, I didn't talk about pubes. Oh gosh, that's
love each other very much.
They're ugly.
They have helped each other to have the baby.
They both have goiters.
When the parents are not wearing any clothes, you can see that the mother has an opening between her legs. It is called a vagina. Right above the opening, she also has a clitoris.
Why?
Father
Are
has
those
a
genital
That
warts?
doesn't-
What is
But
that?
here's the thing:
Father
the
and
clit
mother
didn't
love
need to
each
come
other
into
very
play.
much.
That's not a part of the
Very,
baby.
very close.
We don't want them to know about sexual pleasure.
When the father
Not
feels
yet.
especially loving, his penis becomes longer and bigger.
Oh God.
Okay.
Oh no.
The vagina also gets ready for loving.
Also gets
And to
ready for
show the
loving.
love, the father and mother put the father's penis into the mother's vagina.
They can't show the
Father and mother
penetration,
hold each
huh?
other
Oh.
tightly and
They're
move
not going to show the
together.
penetration.
It feels good for both of
They're
them.
I like
not?
how they're
They
kissing
are
like
making
that.
love, which is also
They
called
show
having
rubbing.
intercourse. The father's
There it
testicles
is.
are filled with sperm cells.
Whoa.
Penis
X-ray
is out
penetration.
of the tip of his penis.
Oh no.
They move through the
All
mother's
7
vagina
of his
into a hollow
sperm.
space inside the mother called the uterus or womb.
Is that what it looks like?
Egg inside the mother, and a sperm cell joins it. If
Ah,
a sperm cell has joined the egg or ovum,
hate everything
together
about
they can
this.
grow into a baby inside the mother's womb. The mother and father
Oh,
do
it
not
like
know
spun.
yet if this
It
has
looks like a nipple.
Sometimes, easily, the man and woman
The
find
mother and
out
father
that
stand arm in
because
arm
they
naked
make love,
together.
they are going
wait,
to
we
lot.
need to find out.
Thumbs up.
Hey.
A tiny egg looks more like a tadpole than a baby. It is firmly attached to the mother's womb by the umbilical cord. Through this cord, the baby gets food from the
Whoa.
mother until the baby has grown big and strong enough to be born. The baby's head, arms, and legs grow, and the little tail you
Can we
can see in
put
the
clothes on
picture
her?
disappears. As the baby grows bigger, the mother's abdomen also grows bigger. All these months, the father is very proud of the mother. They share the excitement of feeling the baby's first movements inside its mother and count the days until the baby will be born. Now the child has eyes and ears and keeps on growing. Many, many days pass. Now it is nearly 9 months since the father's sperm cell and the mother's ovum joined together to make a baby.
I still haven't got dressed. Nope.
One day, the mother tells the father that she is sure the baby is ready to be born. Some babies are born at home, but many are born in a hospital.
They drive their hippie van to the hospital.
There,
That
the
looks like a
doctor
fire
can more
station.
easily help the baby to leave the mother's womb. The mother lies on a bed in the hospital. The doctor will help her have her baby. Sometimes the father
Okay.
wants to stay
There's
with the
that,
mother
there's
so
that.
He can see their baby when it first
What the-
appears. The baby's head comes first. The mother's
Talk about
body
how she'd
stretches
poop on the
toward
table.
the
hell.
baby to come out. Then come its arms. When the baby is completely born, the doctor cuts the umbilical cord.
How come we didn't
which
talk
has
about the
carried food to
cesarean?
baby all this time. When the mother holds her baby in her
That's
arms,
not how you
the
hold the
father
baby.
beside
That's not
her
how you hold
bed,
that
they
baby.
are very proud and happy.
That
That,
baby's
that head would be
Baby rests
dangling
in the
right there.
The baby clearly has the neck strength to support itself while you do the Superman.
Baby sucks milk
Try it
from
with
the
your
mother's
legs.
breast. The father and mother are very happy
But
because
it's
now
okay
they
if
are
you
a
can't
family.
do
They're not
that.
happy. They're
Their
fucking
friends
awake
are
and pissed.
happy too. They come to visit this
Why are
This
there?
is the only way.
Their
that
friend the
babies
lion
can
says,
grow.
"What's up?"
story of how babies are made.
You have a 6-year-old daughter. Is this something you would show, Kelly, to your 6-year-old daughter?
Funny you should ask.
As we sat and watched it, she ventured over and wanted to know what we were giggling nervously at.
The first time before we actually
we
took
had
a
to
good
stop
watch through it.
because
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for her to see it necessarily.
Maddie, do you have children?
I don't. Nope.
When you do have children, is this something you let them watch at the age of 6?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Michelle, Jack is 6 years old. Would you let him watch this?
As long as I'm not in the room.
Or
I'll
read
throw
this
him
book?
The phone and walk out.
Would you really?
No.
Okay.
You know, honestly, there are age appropriate conversations about sex. There's nothing wrong with that book. It's awkward for me. It just because it's awkward to ever think about talking to my innocent little children about where babies come from. But is it wrong or
Maybe it's something
Inaccurate?
that would like they would relate to a little bit better because it's cartoon. I don't know.
Right.
I don't have children, so
Right,
I'm very
and-
unqualified.
I mean, my whole thing is I see playing this for Jack and him going around and telling all of his friends how babies are made in vaginas and penises and, you know, ovum and sperm because that's all discussed there.
So in this book, you see the wiener, and then it goes up, and then it goes in, and you see all of that.
Well, I think there's something, we talked about this a few episodes ago, and I think that as I've thought about it the last few weeks, it's sort of inescapably, if not awkward, at least, it's awkward having that talk. Or, maybe it's a cultural thing, I don't know. But I think putting an app on and letting an app teach your kid or a YouTube video is problematic. I think that conveys something like, I need the Australian children's book writers to explain this to you. I'm not going to do it.
So another
I
friend
was
from work.
kidding.
I wasn't saying it about you.
Okay, I thought you were telling me because I
Wow.
said I'll throw the phone at him and walk out of the
Oh, no,
room.
no. But I think there are people who are like, oh, good, I don't have to explain this anymore.
Another friend from work, and I watched this with a friend from work, said that she was pregnant at 16 because she never had to talk with her parents. That this is something that with her children she would absolutely be comfortable showing it to, because at the end of the day, they're going to ask, how is a baby made? And we have two choices. We can tell them, oh, the stork brings the baby. Or we can say, look, the dude puts this there, and this is kind of how it happens. And so in an illustrated form like this, if you sat down with your kid, we watched the audiobook portion and somebody animated the drawings from the book. In the book itself, it's almost comic strip style. It's not like what we watched. Their mouths were going back and forth as they were kissing, and you basically saw them fucking on a bed.
These are the things that I have issue with in this. One is they're sort of advocating for certain things, like missionary position. they made some choices there about how they were going to depict the lovemaking.
Okay, but at the same time, I mean, like, really, did you
They
want
went with
doggy style
Mispo?
happening?
Well, I don't know.
Are you going to give specifics to your children when you have this talk?
They depicted sex, and somebody had to decide how they were going to do it.
The woman mounts the man in a reverse cowgirl.
Right.
They depicted a certain style of pubic grooming. How did they decide on that?
Well,
They weren't untrimmed.
And here's the thing. I mean, there's validity to that, also in the sense that you're kind of depicting heteronormative.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
where are the
babies,
two men making a baby?
Right. I was going to say babies are not always made through sex. So the sperm and the ovum part is always accurate, but the sex is not. So I think
That's a scary route to go down, though, because
Why?
I think when you're teaching sex and
there's the
reproductive,
homophobic part.
No, it's not. It's not homophobic.
I'm kidding.
But
It wasn't me.
I think it's important to show that two humans, when joined together like that, can make a child. And this is how it happens. I think that it would be doing our children a disservice if we let off with, hey, sometimes it happens in this beaker. Most of the time it happens when the wiener goes in the vagine. But I don't think it's wrong to show that it can happen in the beaker. I think that should be talked about as well. But I think that it should be shown that if you put stick A into hole B,
See,
rub and
you
repeat.
have a hard time even talking about penis and vagina.
No, if you put the penis in the vagina, rub and repeat, sperm's going to come out, and you could make a baby.
You heard it first on That's Delightful.
That's Ian. That's Ian's way of doing things.
What I'm upset about was they didn't show any of the foreplay. They didn't show her disappointment.
There was some
that
kissing,
he
and
decided
then
not to go down.
He rubbed his hand up and down the length of her arm. It seemed.
They gave her that's a girl.
Yeah, it was very chaste and perfunctory lovemaking, but
This will be over in a few minutes.
Just hold on.
In this book, Mom and Dad stayed naked all the way until it was time to get dressed to go give birth to the baby.
They did.
Like, they showed the seasons changing in the window in the background, and Mom and Dad were still standing there naked. We never get dressed unless it's time to go deliver a baby, and then we get dressed for that.
No, I think they'd put their clothes on by then. You just saw the X-ray vision into her stomach as the baby was growing.
We didn't need to see X-ray vision into him.
But you don't.
yeah, where was the vas deferens there?
And the whole thing about childbirth, men have a purpose of about 20 seconds. And then it's us.
Yeah, but without the product from the man, the baby doesn't happen. Whether it happens in a beaker or naturally, it doesn't happen. So
20 seconds.
It's the most important 20 seconds of your
Gee
life.
whiz. What's the secret to that magic?
That's not what I meant.
Shit.
All right.
Okay, this is
Is that
gonna
what
get
those tiger pills are for?
Yes. How long?
Double your lovemaking time, 20 seconds.
How long did it take for you to make your kids?
I'm really glad to be here with my brother today. Ian is wanting to know.
My kids came down the chimney.
I'm
Through the stork. It's a good thing
It was
you
a
could tell
stork.
them
It
the
came
truth.
through the skin chimney.
Is that a thing?
It is
Is
now.
my face
skin
red?
chimney.
Yes.
Oh
Into
my
the
gosh.
female
Mom,
fireplace.
if you made it this far,
Hi,
you're
Mom.
welcome.
Your mom, I'm pretty sure, knows how to have babies.
Hey, I want you to think about this. I want you to think about this.
no,
Listen. Every single person at this table is the product of one man's O face.
Oh gosh.
I don't think about that.
You do not happen without your dad's O face.
Thank you.
I can't imagine the Walt Riley's O face.
I can't either.
I think
But it happened.
Molly?
Molly, we're having a baby.
We'll go back to talking about serial killers.
All right. Hey, Facebook.com/That's Delightful. We'll go ahead and put the video up there if you want to check out this new children's book that goes into graphic detail on how children are made. Maybe this is something you want to share with your children. If it is, good on you.
Please record yourselves showing it to them. Record them watching it. Share it with us.
All right, we're going to move into what we find delightful this week. And do we start with our guest or do we set an example for our guest?
Set an example.
All right, this is the portion of the show where you've listened before we talk about what we find delightful over the course of the last week. I'll go ahead and go first. I went to the eye doctor today.
Oh, yeah?
And yeah, it was a delightful trip. When I got LASIK 7 years ago, and Michelle was there for this, he told me when I got LASIK, and she heard this, you have a condition where fluid is building up behind your eye, and it could cause glaucoma later in life. You're going to have your eyeballs drained. Said, you're fine right now, but it's something that you're going to have to deal with. So I've been living like the last 7 years with a, holy shit, I'm going to get the glaucoma. And my eyeballs are fucked up. And then I finally got decent insurance through Michelle's work. So I finally went to the doctor and I made a referral to the eye doctor. And I went in today because it takes about 4 or 5 months to get in there. And they did all the tests on my eyes. And apparently my eyes are amazing. In doing so, they dilated my eyes. And so I got to leave with Solar Rolls. That's the name of it. SOLAR-ROLLZ.
Yes.
Solar Rolls.
Wow.
That's right. So these old 90-year-olds that are walking out with these eye doctor glasses are walking out with Solar Rolls. And they were delightful. Wow. You guys are totally brother-sistering right now.
Bookends.
Michelle, what you got for
Hashtag
us?
bookends.
Hashtag bookends.
Yes.
I'm going to
We'll
pass
see.
my time to Maddie.
Are you not doing a delightful tonight?
I'm not.
You're not? Okay.
There's nothing delightful about this world.
Oh god.
It's true.
I'm just kidding. No, I just can't think of
I'm
anything.
so ready for my delightful.
Oh, I am going to double dip real quick for Michelle and Kelly. I've had a front row
Okay.
seat to kind of what you guys are doing on your private thing.
You've been watching all that?
She prefers a slower pace.
Oh, okay.
That's the best I can do.
No, your private practice is coming together, and because I get off work early, I get to kind of be a part, and I'm like excited to be doing it. I kind of get a part to do a little bit of the legwork, and so I get this like outside view of watching it all come together, and I'm really excited for you guys.
Come together.
You guys have a phone number now. You guys have a fax line now. You guys have an
phone number?
office
We
now.
have a fax line, too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is so
We can get
exciting.
We can, and it's not just faxes, it's a faxless fax. So it is a HIPAA compliant online fax.
It's an encrypted online fax.
You guys are in business.
We're going to fax the shit out of some.
Do you
We're
see?
gonna fax all
Yes.
the things.
Do you see what I got you guys?
Oh my goodness.
I spent an hour and 4 minutes on the phone with the lady from AT&T getting this set up. By the way, I found the equivalent to our favorite roundtable pizza delivery driver
Was her name
at AT&T.
Shaniqua? Because she
hope
called
so.
3 times while I was sleeping.
Was she chatty?
No, she just said, Miss Riley, your husband Ian called, and I just need to know if you are going to either have a security system or a...
Okay, that's her. That's her.
Okay.
Hour and 4 minutes on the phone with this lady.
Wow.
You guys had 3 different telephone numbers, but she was moving so slow that every time she went to finalize something out, the number was gone, and she had to populate a new phone number. I put the envelope in your folder of stuff for your practice. You can see a number. You can see a number written down, scratched out, another number written down, scratched out, and then a third number written down, which is your telephone number now, because she was moving so slow that she kept losing the numbers to other people. But I want to circle this back to me for a minute. I feel like I can't get paid for doing this work because I'm not an employee, but I do feel like purchasing a $35 badge a minute would be adequate compensation.
No, you know
To
what's
make
adequate
buttons.
compensation? The money I make.
I vote that
Shut your pie hole.
He's
I
been
vote
doing-
that you shut your pie hole. That's what I vote for.
I want some badges.
Shut your pie hole.
I want them to happen in minutes.
So you're on board with the badge a minute.
Yes.
Maddie, how do you feel about the badge a minute?
I'm on board
That
with this.
shut your pie hole.
I'm so sorry.
I hate all of you.
There's no downside to the badge a minute.
I need my sister.
Plus,
My
he
sister
worked-
wouldn't
he
let you buy a
worked
badge
really
a minute.
hard on that.
On the next sibling day.
Your sister
Today is my
would
day.
encourage a badge a minute. You understand that, right?
Not if she was sitting here in front of me
She would encourage a badge a minute.
because she's scared of me.
But when you left, she would encourage the badge a minute.
She would. She would
So-
wink and say,
I could settle this. I could call my sister right now and see if she.
Can I please get a badge a minute? It's like $35.
We can't. Kelly hasn't Venmo'd us.
Done.
I hate you.
The badge a minute's happening.
I
Made it
hate
happen.
you.
Okay. Well, yay, I'm really sorry I double dipped on that one. Gosh. Anyway, why don't you go ahead, Maddie?
Okay. So what I find delightful, I've been thinking about this for a bit. First, can I double dip? Can I say two things?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So first, okay, this is gonna sound really cheesy, but I think that this podcast is really delightful
Aw.
because I flew Southwest here and I was a little behind.
Awful. Okay.
I know. I was a little behind on podcasts, and for the first time in forever, I was nervous to fly because after I sat down, I realized I was sitting right next to the engine. And freaking out because of the lady who died.
Can I have a window seat? I want a window seat. Can you have me next to the
I
window
wonder
seat?
how many people
was-
tried to get away from the window.
Yeah, I didn't realize it until I sat down. Like, there's a window seat this close to the front. This is great. And I didn't realize. So I just put on my earphones and I put on the podcast and it made me feel so much better. So thanks, guys.
Yeah.
We help with your fear of flying.
We're better than Xanax.
We don't help with my fear of flying. No, Xanax is the best part of all of the flying.
Next time I will be getting some of that.
All right. So you're double dipping. What's
Yes,
your next
I'm
one?
double dipping. So I recently started, I'm really late to the game, but I recently started watching Downton Abbey. And it is so good. Don't make that face. It's so good.
You watched Downton Abbey, Kelly?
Probably
yes.
did, actually.
Do you?
I watched it till the wheels came off later on. She's not there yet, though.
No, I'm only in season 2. I recently quit my job, so I have a lot of time on
How
my
many seasons
hands.
are there?
6, maybe?
I
Okay.
think, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm in season 2, and it's really good because Maggie Smith is amazing. So
Okay.
that's what I find delightful this week.
Is that a PBS thing?
Yeah?
Yes.
Downton Abbey? Did you ever watch Mr. Selfridge on PBS with Jeremy Piven?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
My mom did, though.
Are we allowed to watch things with Jeremy Piven now?
If
Why
it's
can't
on
we-
PBS Masterpiece Theater.
I thought we didn't watch stuff with,
Why don't we watch Jeremy Piven anymore?
We don't want to encourage him.
yeah,
Why?
Because he's a tool.
the Me Too movement.
Do we not like Jeremy Piven?
Oh, yeah, Jeremy Piven was a part of that.
Yeah.
There were so
gross.
many.
I think he was accused like Aziz Ansari was accused. Did people take
No,
Jeremy
I think it
Piven's
was a
one
little
seriously?
bit more serious.
Don't
Sorry,
minimize stuff like that.
Didn't mean to open up this can.
I thought he was one of those we'll let him go ones.
Well, no, that's not what I meant. But anyway,
Sorry.
And there's the sexism right there.
so we've covered homophobia, racism, and sexism tonight, huh?
Anti-Semitic.
Hey, I
Anti-Semitism.
think that Maggie Smith is too old to be on television.
Ageism.
Yeah. Going for the hat trick.
All right, Kelly, what you got for us?
Hey guys, the thing I find delightful is International Tabletop Day, which happens every year at the end of April and which is happening this week. I love International Tabletop Day. It's a day when all of the semi-famous people who played tabletop games, like Will Wheaton and that girl from the AT&T commercials who was on that other thing.
Lily?
Yeah,
I love Lily.
she is a gamer.
She's a refugee.
She plays the tabletops. Other people like Weiss from Alias, a guy from Mad Men, a bunch of people that are on that show you saw
Super
that one
famous
time.
people. The
Hurley
guy from
from
Mad
Lost.
Men.
Hurley from Lost. Anyway, and me, who has a lot of board games. I'm not famous,
Dr.
but I
Kelly
do like
Abbott.
tabletop.
So what happens on Tabletop Day?
You just play hella games with
How's
friends.
Kelly celebrating Tabletop Day?
He's probably just going to be moving furniture into his new private
And
practice space.
he's also going to the Casa Light of Hope dinner.
Yes, but also somewhere in there, he really wants to find some time to play some tabletop games.
You can play tabletop games while you're waiting for the AT&T. And
By the way, Gloomhaven, which is one of his complicated games, which I'm allegedly going to be a part of the next time it fires up, is voted like the #1 game
Yes, it is now the #1 game on BoardGameGeek.com. Yes, it is a real website. It is the definitive website that collects a scientific ranking of all board games. #1 had been a game called Pandemic Legacy. That's now #2. #1 with a bullet, Gloomhaven.
See, if I'd have known that, I would have named the private practice Gloomhaven Inc.
Wow, that's where I want to go
That's
get my
not too
therapeutic
late.
services.
Yeah.
Right.
We would attract a certain clientele, I'll tell you that.
What about in parentheses, Gloomhaven
Yeah.
Inc.?
Gloomhaven, if you haven't killed yourself, not gloomy enough, come on in.
Anyway,
That's not funny. Why don't you stop talking for the rest of the night?
International Tabletop Day. You heard it here, hopefully not first, but get out a board game. Play it with your friends, with your family, with your kids. There's lots of board games. Anything but Monopoly. You heard it here first.
Okay, I'm gonna come back in because I really do find the private practice that we're concocting,
That I get to buy a badge a minute now because of. Go ahead.
because that's really delightful. That whole thing.
It's so exciting.
It is. Like at first we were both kind of like, okay, this is gonna happen. Okay, it's gonna happen. And now it's like, oh, yay! We went and Kelly bought a chair.
Awesome.
It looks like something out of Mr. Belvedere.
Is it like a brown leather chair?
It's not leather.
No,
it looks old timey, and it has a footrest that you can lay out on.
Yeah, it's like Masterpiece
You're gonna
Theater.
love it.
Where
It's
is it?
Very comfy. I'm picking it up tomorrow.
What time are you picking it up at?
I don't know. I'm also gonna go see Avengers tomorrow.
What time?
Like,
Oh.
sometime.
I gotta get a spray tan for the Cost of Light of Hope dinner.
What time are you doing that at? Because I have an appointment at 1:30.
Okay, you're
Okay.
Don't worry. Where are you going? At
What time are we
1:30?
gonna?
The gym.
Okay.
tan laundry.
Oh, for real?
I've had a standing appointment at 1:30 on Fridays for like the last year.
We're gonna fight in a minute.
Oh man, lips are pursed on That's Delightful.
So we have a long-standing disagreement, which I've given up on, about people deciding what other people are going to do with their time.
Such as having a long-standing appointment on Fridays without telling me that we have a long-standing appointment on Fridays.
I have gone to the gym at 1:30 on Friday since the last year. I've been at the gym at 1:30s on Friday. That has never changed. My gym appointment at 1:30 on Fridays has been that way because Michelle is home and the kids get home early and the kids can stay with her while I'm at the gym for 30 minutes.
But to be clear, did you actually consult with me on that?
It's already a socially accepted time. It's been that way for a year now. I've already got squatters' rights on
You guys are
1:30.
giving me Aziz face right now. I'm like,
You can't take it back.
No, I can because I never agreed to give it to you.
Hey, guess what? Things are happening tomorrow at 1:30. Hope you're home. So anyway, you know that the 1:30 you can't use this in your argument. You know that the 1:30 thing has been a thing.
Oh, I absolutely can. You knew that Sean was going to see a doctor on Mondays.
Yes, but you didn't consult me about what we had going on Mondays.
You didn't consult me.
You just assumed.
And it was your gym time.
You just assumed that I would be free at the time that he had an appointment on Mondays.
For as much drama as your gym costs, I feel like your meal prepping and your gym membership should give you the fucking weird Pauly D look with the slicked back hair. Wow, did I step in some shit there?
So I'm definitely buying a badge a minute when I get home after this podcast. I feel like it's been earned.
Why
Kelly
wait?
missed
Just do
Yeah.
it now.
what did you say now?
I basically,
Did you just trash him?
I did.
Don't.
Without meaning to.
Do you have your phone? Here, do this. Do this. Do you have your phone?
No.
Yeah, you do. Please get your phone out.
Why?
I want you to go to Amazon.
No, I'm not buying the badge a minute right now.
Then I'll do it on my laptop right now as we finish out this podcast.
Classic Ian and
I love
Michelle.
everything about what's happening right now.
Don't even care. Sun's out, guns out, and other cliche sayings. All right, Facebook.com/That's Delightful. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to That's Delightful. Online at TotallyDelightfulStuff.com, Facebook.com/That's Delightful, and on Twitter at That's Delightful1.